My mother-in-law had no idea that I was paying $6,600 in monthly expenses, but when she told me to move out so her daughter could start her own family, the quiet decision I made the next day changed everything. My mother-in-law had no idea that I was paying $6,600 in monthly expenses, not even when those expenses became necessary to keep the house standing where my husband, Tyler, and I were living. For the past 2 years, I had saved that house, mortgage, utilities, repairs, even replacing the lawnmower with a new model after the old one refused to work despite 3 repairs. I never believed the house was sacred, but for me it was the only place where I had learned how to breathe again after a series of crises. And then one morning, as I was tying my shoes for work, my mother-in-law, Donna, said something that extinguished the last light inside me. She stood in the kitchen doorway like a judge about to deliver a ruling. Her tone was unusually crisp, cold, final. "Amelia, you'll need to move out by next month. Lacey is coming back. She and Jake want to start a family. They need the space." My fingers froze on the laces. What? It was only one word, but it carried everything: the overtime shifts, the medical bills after Tyler's accident, the nights I cried quietly wondering if I had failed at this whole marriage thing. Donna shrugged. "It's their house. You were just staying here." Just staying. I had made 3 major mortgage payments alone when Tyler lost his job. I paid to replace the heating system when it failed and turned the place into a freezer. I cleaned up the mess every time the dishwasher leaked all over the kitchen floor. But Donna had never needed to see the details. All she saw was her daughter's comfort. I didn't argue. If I had, I might have shattered. "1 month should be enough," she added, already turning toward the door. "I hope you understand. It's for family." Family. The word always sounds different when it comes from someone who's never acknowledged your sacrifices. That evening, I came home from work and spread the bills across the dining table. Receipts stacked in neat rows, each month accounted for. $6,600, just the current month's expenses. I didn't need the calculator. The truth was as obvious as the cracked tile in the bathroom Donna always said Lacey would fix someday. Around 3 in the morning, I was still awake. Tyler lay beside me, staring at the wall. He knew his mother was wrong. But Tyler avoided conflict the way some people avoid storms, by pretending they don't exist. "If your sister moves back in," I asked quietly, "where do we go?" He exhaled. "We'll figure something out. It'll be temporary." Temporary. Everything in my life felt temporary, except my sacrifices. Those were permanent, and apparently invisible. The next morning, I didn't raise my voice. I made breakfast like nothing had happened. But inside me, something had shifted. A quiet decision was forming, one I couldn't yet put into words. I just knew I wasn't going to be the good daughter-in-law anymore. I was going to survive. I started pulling records, bank statements, insurance emails, 6 months of documentation clearly showing who had been paying the mortgage. I scanned everything, organized it into a file, and sent it to an attorney whose contact information I'd gotten from HR months earlier, after Tyler's accident had forced me to think about worst-case scenarios. By noon, my phone rang. "Amelia," the lawyer said, her voice steady and professional, "you have a strong case. Your financial contribution to that property is substantial. They can't just remove you. And if they attempt to force you out, you may be entitled to damages." When I hung up, I stood by the living room window. The air outside was cold, but for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. The following afternoon, Donna returned. I imagined she expected to see boxes stacked by the door, maybe tears. Instead, she found me sitting calmly at the dining table with a cup of coffee. In front of me was the legal notice my attorney had drafted. Tyler sat nearby, unusually quiet. Donna picked up the document. "What is this?" "It's an itemized account of what I've paid toward this house over the past 2 years," I said evenly. $79,200. "If you want me to leave, the law requires reimbursement of my financial contributions. Until there's a settlement, I'm not going anywhere." Her face drained of color. "Are you threatening me?" "No," I replied. "I'm claiming my place." For once, Tyler spoke. "Mom, she's right." It was the first time he had openly supported me in front of her. But by then, it wasn't about him standing beside me. It was about me standing for myself. Donna tried to respond, but the words seemed to fail her. Finally, she slammed the notice down and walked out, the door closing hard behind her. The sound didn't scare me. It felt like a line being drawn. The next few weeks were tense. Donna attempted to avoid a legal settlement, hinting that I was being dramatic, that family shouldn't involve lawyers. But paperwork doesn't bend to emotion. My file was thorough. Dates, transfers, invoices, everything documented. Eventually, she asked to meet. No courtroom, no shouting, just a quiet conversation across the same dining table where she had once dismissed me. "I didn't realize how much you were covering," she said stiffly. It wasn't a warm apology, but it was something. "Lacey can look for another place." I nodded. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt clear. "And," I added, surprising even myself, "I'm looking for a new place too." Donna blinked. "But you just fought to stay." "I fought to be acknowledged," I said. "Not to remain where I'm not valued." Tyler looked stunned. He had assumed this was about staying in the house. But for me, it had never been about square footage or property lines. It was about visibility. Within a month, I signed the lease on a modest apartment across town. Smaller kitchen. No yard. No cracked tile waiting for someone else's promise to fix it. The day I held the keys in my hand, they felt heavier than they should have. Not because of metal, but because of what they represented. I left the house quietly. No dramatic farewell. No slammed doors. Just boxes, one trip at a time. Tyler and I had long conversations in those final weeks. About partnership. About loyalty. About how conflict avoided becomes damage multiplied. He admitted he had been afraid, of his mother, of instability, of losing comfort. I admitted I had been afraid too, of being alone, of starting over. We didn't decide everything at once. Marriage doesn't resolve like a courtroom case. But we agreed on one truth: if we stayed together, it would have to be as equals. On my last evening there, I stood in the driveway and looked at the house that had once felt like sanctuary. I didn't hate it. I didn't even resent it. It had been a place where I learned how strong I could become when cornered. Some people call what I did revenge. It wasn't. It was recognition. Recognition that my work had value. That my time had weight. That love without respect becomes quiet erasure. As I turned away, I whispered something to myself, not loud, not angry, just steady. No one in my life gets to ignore me anymore. And for the first time in a long time, that didn't feel like a threat. It felt like freedom.